For the warm welcome. I don't know if I've ever been greeted to a standing ovation, so certainly that's very great. And again, it's really my pleasure to be able to come here tonight. And when Paul gave me the call and asked me, I was really hoping that the schedule and the timing and everything would work out, that I'd be able to come out to the community here and be able to support the organization. I'm very, very proud to represent the Winnipeg Jets, and certainly True North Sports and Entertainment, and specifically Mark Chipman, who I know has come and spoken at this benefit and done numerous other things in the community and the surrounding area of Winnipeg. And one thing that when I agreed to come speak here, Mark really spoke glowingly of the program and the Piston organization, and talked about a lot of the things, a lot of the values, a lot of the beliefs that we have as an organization were instilled within this group as well. And you know what? It's there's no mystery why. Obviously, you were able to win a championship in short order. And man, oh man, judging by the group of players that came up here, the camaraderie, the charisma, the genuine team feel that they have. It kind of brought goosebumps, to me, because I've been very, very fortunate throughout my career to be part of championship teams. And the thing that always rings true with each and every one of those teams, everyone that I can sit back and talk about, is the group togetherness. And to be able to come up here, poke fun at each other. Man, oh man, I don't know if I could have handled the girlfriend question back in my day, but I was, again, I was probably the guy without the girlfriend all the time, so it wouldn't have been an issue. But again, to the group of players, great job up here breaking the ice. I definitely won't be as funny as you, so it's all downhill from there after that. But again, best of luck the rest of the season. Again, for me, it's kind of like coming home. I played my junior hockey in Brandon, and I was fortunate to meet a girl from Melita, Manitoba, and we ended up getting married. So having the opportunity to come back to southern Manitoba and be a part of bringing the National Hockey League back to where it belongs was certainly something very special to me. And you know what? Actually, I was going to be able to tell you some great fishing stories here, and exaggerate about how great of a fisherman I am since I came here. But Craig Stapon's here, and he knows I'm a lousy fisherman. So that kind of blew part of my speech away here. But it comes, obviously, coming to Winnipeg and being the general manager of the club. People recognize you on the street, and everybody's been very, very friendly and come up and talk to you and welcome you and really have a good time. Well, again, I think you guys all remember back maybe in Jets 1.0, there was a goalie named Tim Cheveldayoff, and who played for the team. And unfortunately, a lot of people still kind of get it mixed up. I think that Tim Cheveldayoff is me. And so I was walking through the store one day with my daughter, and someone come up, and you can kind of see, like, when people recognize you, they take a look at you, and they kind of walk up, and they want to be all cool and nonchalant. And my daughter's like, he's staring at you, and I went, wow, yeah, I said, hi, how are you? He goes, hey, Tim. My daughter goes, you ain't no big thing here, So, it's funny because, my kids are 16 and 13, and they're both born in Chicago, and, obviously American kids, but, they've had their cousins here in Manitoba and come visit them quite a bit. And when I went and told them that, I had the opportunity to come to Winnipeg and be the general manager, they knew, obviously, for me, it was something that it was a lifelong dream, and and an aspiration to become general manager of the National Hockey League. Obviously, they're very thrilled, but the very first words out of my daughter's mouth is like, "Why you?" Thanks, honey. I see you've got your mother's sense of humor, I guess. But anyway, I grew up in a small town in northern Saskatchewan, a little town called Blaine Lake, Saskatchewan. It's a farming community of 550 people. My parents were farmers. I grew up with that work ethic and that closeness to the ground and closeness to to the community, and I was very, very fortunate to play all my minor hockey in that small town, and I really learned what it was like to be part of a community, to have the support of my family and support of everyone all around it. So again, being able to come back to smaller communities and be a part of this is something that was very, very special to me. I had the fortune of moving on and playing midget AAA for the Saskatoon Blazers, and and then the real good fortune at 16 to move to Brandon to play junior hockey for the Wheat Kings. And those years were some of the best years of my life. And you know, still to this day, I've got great friends that you know, over the course of time have you know, we've kept together. So guys, if I can say one thing to you guys, is that enjoy each and every minute of the time that you spend together here, because these are some of the funnest times. Junior hockey is some of the best times that you'll ever have. Again, the jokes, the laughs. You know, we have cooler looking hair than you guys do now. But, you know, it's something that you know, you'll never forget. And talking to Paul here, we talked about a lot of different stories that you know, again, just crossed paths over the course of time, playing against each other and knowing the different people. And I know I might have speared him one or two times too when I played, I'm not sure. But you know, again, those are the fun parts you know, about the game. You know, for me, my career was very fortunate. Playing junior hockey, playing in Brandon, I had the fortune of getting drafted by the New York Islanders in the first round. Had the opportunity to go to their training camps, play in some exhibition games. And then when I got sent back to junior, you know, I had a real misfortune in my career. I blew my knee out. I fell into the boards, and you know, we're talking you know, 25 years ago here now, and you know, the technology and the procedures and everything that were done back then, you know, aren't kind of the way that they're done now. But you know what? It gave me an opportunity to put some things into perspective and really understand that you know, hockey was a big part of my life. But and it really, when it took it away from me, where I couldn't play for a year after that, it really resonated with me that, you know what, it was a huge part of my life, and I wanted to make sure that that everything moving forward that I could do within my power, I was going to do to play in the National Hockey League. So I was fortunate enough after that the Islanders you know, did sign me, and I played several years pro after that. And you know, again, one thing that you'll learn in this game, it's not about where you go, it's not about what you do, but it's about the people that you meet along the way. And for me, I've been so fortunate over the years to meet some just exceptional people along the way that have given me great opportunities to better myself, to provide for my family, and ultimately to win some championships in the game. And one person that you know, really became a big influence in my life was Butch Goring, who was my coach for my first 3 years of playing pro. And you know, I learned a lot from him. Obviously, you know, from being from Manitoba, we had you know, some ties together, you know, in those regards. But you know, just his sharpness and his understanding of the game, his knowledge of the game, his ability to, you know, to take the game and break it down into you know, into the finer parts of the game, and to teach it to players was an important thing. But it was funny because even though, you know, Butch was a great teacher and everything like that, you know, along the way, there was always these little moments that you know, you could see that he would get frustrated, and he would talk about, you know, like the different systems and trying to teach guys and everything like that. And one day he was so frustrated, he was trying to teach us a point as a player, and he was like, you could just see he was going crazy. And I said, Butch, I said, you know, you're thinking up here, you got to think like me, like I'm a dummy, I don't understand this, you got to teach us like that. And it was just those kind of moments that you know, for me resonated, that, you know, again, coaching and maybe managing was going to be something that I'd like to do you know, moving forward, you know, at some point in time in my career. And getting to know a guy like Butch, you know, would certainly turn out as a great opportunity for me, you know, moving on. So fast forwarding a couple of years later, my contract with the Islanders is done, and I'm looking to play. I'm 24 years old, still in my mind too young to retire. I just got married, talked about with my wife, and said, you know what, look, I want to play. I want to continue to try and make a career on the playing side of things here. I still want to get to the National Hockey League. That's a goal. You know, I never had a chance to get there as a regular after I blew my knee out, and I said, you know, that's going to be my goal in life. And I said, I want to give it another shot. I said, if it doesn't work, I'm going to go to the University of Saskatchewan and become a lawyer. I said, great, no problem. So all summer I'm calling my agent, and I'm like, you know, anything? No, nothing. You know, it's like a couple of days later, calling him again. It's like, well, what about now? You know, there's a couple teams, you know, I see that they're starting to sign. Like, yeah, no, nothing. It's like, so I kept going on and on and on in the summer. So all of a sudden my phone rang one day, and it was Butch. And at that time he had taken the head coach job in Denver, and the IHL as the Denver Grizzlies, and the IHL, he was head coach and general manager, and he called. So I'm like, oh, great, you know, he wants me to come play for him again. So I said, pick up the phone and call, hey, what's Chevy, you know, how's it going? Yeah, great. And he says, Chevy, I got an opportunity here for you to become the assistant coach and assistant general manager of the team. I'm like, yeah, but Butch, I want to play. And he's like, yeah, but Chevy, I don't want you to play. I'm like, oh, okay. So I talked to my wife and went back and forth. So I, you know, this was really the kind of turning point in my career. I picked up the phone and called my agent. His name was Steve. I said, Steve, Chevy, hey, how is it? I said, I got a call from Butch Goring, and he offered, and he goes, take it. I said, well, you don't know what he offered me. I said, and he says, I don't care what he offered you, just take it. So I did, and for me, it was a great opportunity, and you know, never turned back. And at that point in time, I reevaluated my goals, and I said, you know, my goal is to become a National Hockey League general manager. So when the opportunity came for Winnipeg, it was a dream come true. But you know, along the way, again, met some great people, had some great opportunities, was fortunate to be with the Blackhawk organization and win a Stanley Cup, an experience that, you know, something I'll cherish forever, and something that you can't even put into words. You know, the feeling that, you know, of winning, winning the Stanley Cup, but, you know, winning any championship is certainly something that, you know, again, should be cherished, because, you know, you never know when those opportunities, you know, come around. Again, going back to Winnipeg Jets, again, very proud to be you know, part of this organization, and having the opportunity to lead it into you know, essentially from the ground up. And one of the beliefs is that you know, again, from the beginning, we talked about, you know, building a foundation of an organization that was you know, everyone was going to be proud of, and that you know, over the course of time, you know, we're going to have players that wanted to be Winnipeg Jets. We're going to draft young players. We're going to take the time to allow them to grow. We're going to you know, talk to them about what we believe is right and proper, and how we want them to play, and how we want them to be as people, and how we want them to act in the community. And we really believe that, you know, over the course of time, as we continue to draft young players, as we continue to sign players that fit our philosophy and our model, that you know, we're going to be very, very successful. And again, it's that saying, fueled by passion, that you know, from the moment that the guys stepped off the plane, they knew that this province was fueled by passion, and that they knew that they were in a very, very special place where, you know, the people truly cared, not only about the hockey, but about them as individuals. And that was an interesting thing. For me, you know, it was interesting the day that I was being introduced. I was getting off the plane, and I was coming across the border with my family, and it hit home pretty quickly about how important this team was to the community. And at that time, they still weren't the Jets. At that time, it was still some unknown name. Mark Chipman was probably the only guy at that point in time that really truly knew what the name of the team was going to be. And I was crossing the border. All of a sudden, all the border guards, you know, start going to the one terminal where I'm walking through with my family, and you know, I knew things were going to get tough. And they said, we only have 2 questions. They said, what's the name of the team, and when are you going to win the Stanley Cup? And I said, well, I don't know, and I'm going to work on it real quick. So it, you know, you could tell that you know, certainly the you know, the passion you know, was going to be there. But again, it's an exciting time for our organization, a difficult time as well. Obviously, we just went through a series of changes where, you know, the unfortunate aspect of the lousy part of the business happened, where, you know, we made a change at the head coaching position. But we're very, very fortunate to bring in an individual that has over 1,000 games of National Hockey League coaching experience in Paul Maurice, someone who has, you know, certainly snapped some things to attention, and is, you know, certainly what we believe on the going to allow us to continue on the right path that we believe is going to be the ultimate success for the organization. So, you know, again, really, you know, just enjoyed the evening here tonight, and it's just great to see all the different people here. And you know, generally, I find that, you know, at this point in time, either people are usually dozing off with my boring speeches here. So I usually try and open it up to maybe what's more topical, you know, on your guys' mind, and some question and answer. The only thing was that one time I did that, and I opened it up, and all of a sudden there's, you know, some person at the front, and it was going through a time where things were a little tough, and so the person at the front raises the hand, and I said, okay, what's your question? And they go, you need to score more goals. Okay, so we're missing the point here. Question, answer. You ask me a question, I'll give you the answers. So anyway, you know what? I'll open it up a little bit. If any of you have some questions, I'll try to do my best to answer them. If I can't, I'll tell you I can't. But I'd love to be able to hear what's on some of your guys' minds. Yes.
Can you tell us what the situation was with Ian White and how he wasn't in camp very long?
Sure. With Ian, one of the things that we did this year when we brought in Ian, obviously a guy that has tremendous experience and has a lot of National Hockey League experience in his own right, very good player. We kind of brought him in not knowing where a guy like Jacob Trouba was going to be. Jacob Trouba is 19 years old, obviously a draft pick of ours that we signed out of Michigan University. And as a 19-year-old, one thing we didn't want to be doing was putting him in a situation where he wasn't ready to play. And so over the course of a couple of games at the exhibition season and everything like that, we determined pretty quickly that, we're comfortable where he's at with his game, and we're going to move forward with him on our team. And coupled with that and with the guys that we had signed, I just felt that it was important, especially with a veteran player, to be able to give him the opportunity to maybe try and find an opportunity somewhere else. So that was the reason why. It's a tough part of the game when it comes to contracts and those kind of things. But having a young player that we could bring into our organization and help us move down the path that we believe we need to do to be successful with the young players, the youth, and that type of way. That's how it worked out with that. Yeah.
Opposite question to the youth. Why is Thorburn playing with your star 19-year-old?
Well, Thorb's he's an interesting player. Like over the course of the years, he's been more traditionally suited, obviously, for the fourth line right wing. And just by some different opportunities, he was kind of in and out of the lineup, and we decided, we had an opportunity. We needed a guy to play the left side, and he went up and he played. And I think it was, at first it was, and it might have been in the Ranger game, where it was the first time that he actually played left wing, and man, oh man, I think he played with Jokinen, and they had a great night, and it was certainly something that opened the eyes up to the opportunities of being able to play him on the left side. And one thing that Chris can do is he can really skate. And he's a big guy, and when you can channel that energy and that ability to go to the net with guys like Scheifele and with guys like Wheeler who can shoot it and maybe get the puck to the net, hopefully that's something that can work. But obviously we'd love Evander to be back there. Unfortunately with his hand infection, he's going to be out a while. Doesn't seem to be something that's going to be extremely long term, but certainly anyone who's dealt with any kind of infections knows that it's not something you want to mess with. And we did take all the precautions and the medications and everything like that when he did have the actual open cut. But it's just unfortunate that things work out in those fashions. And it's really a lesson. Like things can change in the game on a daily basis. I'm sure when the coaches' phones ring, sometimes they kind of shudder and like, oh my goodness, and see a name or number come up, it's like, oh, not good.
Scheifele and Trouba has been great this year. The last 25 games, outstanding. Who's your two next rookies for next year?
Well, that's a really good question. It's I guess one of the things within the organization is obviously we want to draft and develop well. And when we drafted Mark Scheifele 2 years ago, and really it's only been 3 years ago, I guess. Sorry, it's only been that period of time. You would think that he'd been around forever because obviously being the first draft pick, his name was brought up so many times. He came to camp that year, and he was exceptional. But you could just tell he just wasn't strong enough and wasn't physically mature enough to handle the rigors of an 82-game season. So we sent him back to junior, and again the next year he'd come up and he'd done okay, and but not great. But you could still see some of those things where we're still hampering him, and we just felt sending him back and going to the World Juniors was going to be good. I guess where I'm going with this is that development takes its own course with a lot of different players. Obviously, Josh Morrissey is an exceptional player at the junior level, plays for Prince Albert. Nick Patan is a dynamic player who plays in the Western Hockey League. Adam Lowry, who's able to turn pro and playing in the American Hockey League, 6'5" centerman that was Western Hockey League Player of the Year last year. J.C. Lapon, Brandon Kishton. We do have a lot of young players. To say when they're going to be ready, it's kind of premature, and it's certainly something that I'd love to be able to say that this guy is going into the lineup next year. But again, you're open to surprises. I'd love to be able to have one of those young kids come to camp next year and force me to make a decision where I have to move a guy or do something like that. But again, we spend a lot of time, a lot of energy. My assistant GM, Craig Heisinger, who spoke at this dinner probably a couple years ago back in the Moose days, way more funnier than I am, no question about that. But he's on his way to Russia on Saturday. It's one of those things where there's lots of scouting, lots of hours spent, lots of games watched. Obviously, lots of guys have been here watching games over the years, and you just never know when, obviously, you're going to find the guy or a guy that tweaks your interest. And from a player's perspective, you guys should also know you never know who's in the stands. So you always have to put your best foot forward, because that might be the one time and the single only time that either a guy like myself or a scout or something like that's out there. And that impression that you put in their minds, might last a lifetime. And you just never know when all of a sudden, hey, I remember watching him play back in Steinbach. Let's go get him.